I received another question about hippotherapy and decided to answer that while I'm going about today's adventure. Now, hippotherapy is where qualified therapists use the movement of a horse as a therapy tool. And if you watch today's video to the end, you will understand who may not, should not, and cannot take part in hippotherapy at all. My name is Nanette du Plessis and I'm a South African occupational therapist who first worked and lived in Abu Dhabi and now live in the beautiful Lake District in the UK. I'm passionate about hippotherapy and I decided to answer your questions today while walking. It's now 13:15 and we're going to hike up
White side, west stop.
While you watch Christopher's question, we will hike up the mountain and you can click the subscribe button. See you at the top. Hi Christopher.
Hi Nanette. I can imagine a lot of people can benefit from hippotherapy. Can you tell us more about the indications and the contraindications of hippotherapy?
3 hours later, most of the road was no road at all. We missed it. So I crawled on, on all fours. Luckily it's summer, so it's not that cold, but it's windy and it's rainy and it's misty. The first part of your question, I already made a video to answer that, and if you click on the video on top, you will see who can benefit from hippotherapy. The second part, what is contraindications, in other words, for whom hippotherapy is not a good idea at all, is if the benefit can outweigh the risk. If there's more risk in taking part in hippotherapy, then clearly such a person should not do hippotherapy. And because it's so very windy, I'll answer your question when we get down. At last we are home and warm after a nice bath. And I'm sorry you had to wait so long, Christopher, but at last I can answer your question. So what I meant with a risk involved with hippotherapy is that people is on a horse, and in the same manner that when you get into a car, there is a risk of an accident. Whenever you get onto a horse, there's a risk of a fall. So there's some contraindications, meaning things that we have to look at that may be a problem. And then there's some total contraindications, meaning that they can never ride a horse. So if you or the client on the horse has got something like osteoporosis, which can cause their bones to break more easily should they fall, it's a total contraindication. That means that someone with osteoporosis can never be on a horse within hippotherapy. Then there's also something like atlantoaxial, not just instability, but if the gap, atlantoaxial is the two top vertebra, so C1 and C2. So if the gap between those two is more than 3 millimeters, also should someone fall with a gap that's too big, it can do spinal damage. A person is likely to be permanently handicapped. When we have scoliosis, so scoliosis is a curvature of the spine, but if the scoliosis is not movable, the amount of movement that the horse is giving a person is too much. And if the spine can't move, it can do damage. And therefore, that's a total contraindication. But a movable scoliosis can actually benefit from hippotherapy, depending on the amount of bend, on the angle that it's bent, and how big or how small this angle is. Or other contraindications that might play a role is something like open wounds. These open wounds, they cannot do hippotherapy. It's just not applicable because it's hair and dust. And all kinds of germs that can get into an open wound. If someone has got pins in their back, it's a total contraindication, because should a fall occur, can you imagine how much damage it can cause? So people often ask me if a shunt, a little pump in the brain, is a total contraindication. Usually not, especially if you can get a helmet on. But that's why it should be a therapist that's trained that gives the hippotherapy, because a person with a shunt may not go into the inversion position. They can't lie with their head lower than their heart, like over the barrel on their tummies, because the amount of pressure in the brain will be too much. Another contraindication is a trachea, where they have a little hole in their throat through which they breathe, because again, due to the environment, it's dust and it's horsehair and a lot of other things in the air, like grass particles and stuff. Even if you can put something over, what would happen should they fall in a sand arena? So again, that would be a total contraindication. Then there's also various heart conditions that may or may not be a contraindication, where we will have to talk to the doctor and have to really have the best interest of the client at heart. I think the most important thing is that the safety of the client is of paramount importance. We have to take the safety of the client into consideration in whatever we do, whenever we do that. And I hope this is a little bit more clear to anyone that's interested in hippotherapy whatsoever. If you don't know, you're welcome to drop me a question down here, and I will answer your question as soon as possible, maybe in a video, but I will definitely answer within the comment lines. If you like my videos, please give me a thumbs up. And then just a small word of advice: if you ever want to hike the white side top end, take the well-trotted road and don't go straight on uphill as we did. That is just stupid. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.